Hey everybody, welcome back to Deez Sports Nutz. I'm here with the collector, I'm the coach. It's been a little while since we came back. It's good to be with you. Got some things coming up. Next week we're going to talk about our all things Pittsburgh sports. Probably just stick with the Pirates and the Steelers. It'll be a little painful for you.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering who he roots for, it's on his nugget. But we're going to talk about two things. You know, why they're saying the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't a playoff team and why there's a reason for optimism with the Pirates.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of great prospects in the Pirate system that we'll get to. The casual Pirate fan, as I see on Facebook and stuff like that, it's the same old ride, you know. But I think there's a method to their madness, and I think that they're going in the right direction. I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, I think people are pretty angry. They're frustrated with with ownership and the fact that with this beautiful stadium and we're not using any of the profit sharing to bring players in. I understand the frustration. Although these new GMs who have to work under the premise of the money they have to spend have done a pretty good job with these players, but they're not household names, and I think that's the difference with baseball. You know, when you're talking about football and basketball, these guys are usually college players or great high school kids that come up in basketball's case, and you know who they are, they're household names. Now with baseball, you just don't know. You don't know who these international slot guys are and all that. And I think we've done a pretty good job of trading over the last couple of years. I think this new regime is headed in a good direction, and it's going to be a fun thing to talk about, and maybe get some blowback. And we're going to work next week when we do the show. Our faithful assistant back here, the inferior and disappointing Josh Miller. We're going to have him put up an email address for you so you can email the show in case there's something that you want to say to us. Hopefully you'll be kind, and if you won't be kind, that's okay too. We're used to it. We're big boys. And if you want to contribute to the GoFundMe for Josh, his hair has not gotten any better. So that's still out there as well too, and maybe you can send that to. We are looking for a barber, any barber who's willing to come do a house call and take care of Josh. We're just really concerned about him. There's not a hat that'll fit him, and if he was working on a construction site, he wouldn't need a hard hat.
Poor Josh. I'm not too far behind him though, so I can't talk. Yeah. Spring's coming now. Spring's coming.
I like to say that I keep my hair high and tight, but I think old age does.
That's all right. Yeah. That's all right. Hey, whatever it takes.
Maybe I'm jealous of the flowing locks he has there, but it just like he can only grow a Brady hairdo, and not Tom.
No.
Tom might be okay. Greg or Peter, not so nice.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll have that on there as well too, and then we got our big draft preview coming with our special guest.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. He's taking notes right now. I know.
Yes, he is. He's going to watch us and break it down. I think he is Ryan Switzer's agent. I think that's the best way to describe him. So it's going to get a little ugly on here, maybe a little bit heated, but we'll have a special new format for you. And I think that'll be fun as well too. Yep. Getting ourselves back and working towards being the number one podcast in Pennsylvania.
That's all we can do.
That's all we can do is work towards it. Yep.
I wouldn't say I'm ever just going to just quit.
No. No, not at all, man. You're all in, my guy. All in.
Some people just quit. I don't know.
You're all in. But anyways, I think one of the things that we really want to talk about today is, how we became us.
Yep.
A way of putting it. I think we have a pretty cool story. It goes back many, many years to when we met. Sadly, for Jordan's sake, he chose to meet me on the mic, Josh. He wanted all the smoke, as they say nowadays.
Hold on, let me preview this.
Hold on, no.
Hold on.
No. He wanted all the smoke in the freestyle battle, and it didn't go his way. But let's. He has a remix to it, so in music terms, we'll go back to you, Diddy, for the remix.
As always, anybody that's a battle rapper always has a spin on it. When I used to just battle rap all the time, and then when I became 21 and started drinking, I should have left the battle raps at the door. We met at Shooters on the mic. You just wanted to have fun, and I was serious, but I was drunk.
You had taunted me on many occasions.
Yes,
I never
many
thought
drunk nights. I poked the bear and poked the bear.
Yeah, but let's be clear, though. I was a comedian. You were serious about your craft.
Yeah.
I only ever did freestyle stuff because I couldn't sing, and karaoke was a big thing, and it became like, hey, why don't you, and also I'm an idiot, and maybe you'd call me an attention seeker. I don't know, but
Hey,
but
whatever.
no. I would go up and I would go on, and they would dare me to do. My friends would dare me to do things. So it became, hey, why don't you do this? Go make up a song.
Yeah.
And then it kind of went from there. And then it was like, well, try it the word up. So like, yeah, and it became a thing, and it kind of grew into a funny thing for weddings and parties and things like that. But you had heard that about me, and people would ask me to do it in a funny way, and you were like, yeah, you're so good. Come get some of this. It went on for so long, and that night I had the right amount of drinks in me to say yes.
Yeah.
And who knows who really won? But I mean,
I have no recollection. I remember the event. No clue what was said. I know the crowd had fun.
Yes. Who knows who really won? Everybody says I did.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
who says everybody's right?
Yeah. I don't remember anybody that was there, what was said. I just know that at one point after poking you and poking you and poking you, that it finally happened.
Yeah.
And then the people that have spoken up afterwards had said that you were better. When you're battle rapping like that, the crowd engagement is key.
Yes.
I'm sure I was way too serious. The funny is always that's the winner.
Yes.
That's the winner. You hit some good punchlines, and that's what they remember. But
and not that any of it matters now, but that's kind of like our history and kind of really what we had. And then, years and years and years later, and we'll get, and I'll let Jordan tell his own story, but I'm going to tell my part here, and I think you can tell what happened in between there. So years and years later, this guy walks into my store and wants to sell me some cards. He's like, hey, Tony, and I'm looking at him, and I mean, the thing that always stands out to me is your mustache, man. Your mustache was so all over in your beard, and you were pretty much covered in hair. It was part of your hiding your mask, for lack of a better word. And you brought the cards in, and we started talking, and that may have been the first thing I remembered, but that was quickly overshadowed by your knowledge of cards. And I love my guys. I love my nerds. I love Bones and his Hot Wheels. I love Stryker and his speciality of nothing. I like how he took up space at our place. But I love all my guys. Larry's into wrestling. All my workers at that time. Josh is into the nerd culture, self-proclaimed nerd culture. And, Bones is into the Hot Wheels. And not the Bones, these guys aren't sports fans, but I never had anybody I could talk prospects and stuff with. And, and that used to be me. But with life and coaching and things like that, I wasn't as well versed. And man, you're just zinging this guy and that guy, and this guy's coming up. And I was like, whoa! I was like, immediately, I was like, man, I finally got somebody who I can talk cards with, and and I was so impressed. And we went round and round, and I think it might have been the second time when I said something to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you brought the Bellinger the first time.
No,
right?
no. The first one was not the Bellinger.
So he brought some cards in. We did a deal, and they come back the second time, and we wrapped even longer. And I was like, "Hey, Chance, maybe you want to come hang out and sort some cards and talk some sports with me." And at first, you were like, "Yeah," and then you're like, "Yeah, I'm not so sure." I mean, it kind of changed. I can't remember if it was instantly or so. Then you kept coming back, and it was like I was in the back of my head. I'm like, "Man, this is a guy who." I mean, sorting cards, for fun is like, it's a process, and finding the right guys is a process. I'm like, man, I want to ask him again. And I can remember when I did, you were kind of relieved. You were like, man, I was hoping you were going to ask again. I think this might be a good thing for me. And I was like, yeah, awesome. And then you decided to come in and work with me, let's, kind of help me out and, volunteer and stuff like that. And again, something that most people would never do, just willing to come help someone because you love the hobby so much, and it was a way for you to collect. And I don't think at that time you had the means, you don't have the means to do this, so you're like, this is my collection, and I can come hang out here, and it's a good safe place for me, and I can be a collector, and I can talk about sports cards. And like I said, the rest is history, and what it's done for me on a personal level and a friend level, and what I've gained by that. And the fact that it started with some silly battle rapping thing, and what it's grown into now, as close as we are. And again, every day we get to enjoy, almost every day we get to enjoy, talking about sports, breaking down what happened. And and that's kind of where this show came from now. And we talk sports during the day, we invest in sports during the day, we bet sports during the day, we play fantasy sports during the day. And we've turned it into something that has filled both of us up, and it's benefited everybody involved. And it's like I think we both had major gaps in our lives. Maybe on the surface yours might have been maybe a little bit more obvious, but I was in a bad place. I had just left my career's work at Johnstown and branched out to be an entrepreneur, and it was something new for me, and I was kind of in a dark place, and I was kind of struggling to find my way, and I guess unsettled is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
And then we hit it running, and now that's something that we look forward to every day. But enough of me rambling on, Jordan. But I think the cool part will be your story. Maybe before I met you, after I met you, and then maybe we'll get it to the point where we kind of tell them about that Saturday when you finally told me the whole story.
Yeah. So anyone that watches this that doesn't know me, I'm a recovering heroin addict. That was my drug of choice. Before that, it was pills. Smoked weed, drank. I was an addict for upwards of 12 years, and it completely taken over my life. At the time that I met Tony at Shooters during the battle rap, it was early on. I was an insecure kid, always looking for others. I was a people pleaser, and so once I started drinking and using drugs, it relieved my anxiety. It made me comfortable. I turned into the clown of the party. Whatever people wanted, that's what I did. And when I was able to freestyle rap so well, that's all people wanted me to do, and I enjoyed that. That was my role. Not to get too in-depth into my addiction, but it lasted a long time. It progressed fast. To me, addiction is a disease. Both of my parents have the addiction traits, so I was susceptible to it. And then once I consumed those substances, the mind-altering substances, then I became an addict. A lot of people have different things that they're addicted to. It could be positive, it could be negative. People work out all the time, people work all the time. There's different levels to it. I do a 12-step program that helps me now in staying sober. But I didn't realize that I had a problem until there was just no means anymore. You call it rock bottom. I did several rehabs in 2009, but I did them for the wrong reasons. And I'd get a little bit of time outside of the substances, but I always went back. I never really dug into the problems. And then it's crazy how God works. In 2012, August 6, 2012, I was a cab driver at the time, which was probably the worst possible job I could have. I was a full-blown heroin addict. I was an IV user at the time. I didn't have a car. I never drove. I always rode the bus everywhere or walked. That allowed me to get around town. It allowed me to have money in my pocket, and my addiction blew up over a few months. That night, I picked up 3 gentlemen downtown. They had me take them to the West End. The house that I was taking them to was dark. After everything was panned out, I actually did know one of the people that were in the car. At the time, I didn't realize. I was just so gone. I actually had just used drugs prior to me picking them up. But needless to say, when I got there, the house was dark. He said to take them down into Oakhurst Homes. When I made the next turn, they pulled a gun on me, took me out of the car, progressed to rob me, take my money. They planned on taking the car, taking my phone. And then at that time, like I said, I didn't realize that I knew him, but he knew me. So my thought process would be that he was afraid that I was going to tell the police, so he shot me. He shot me in my back with a .22. It bounced around inside, fractured 3 ribs, and actually the bullet still sits in my chest right now. And they left me there to die. Luckily, I made it. I'll get into the next part of the story after I'm done, because that's also another thing that connects us. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks, multiple chest tubes, taking the blood out. My lung wouldn't reinflate. Finally, the last surgery after 21 days did allow my lung to reinflate, and I was able to leave the hospital. I was in Conemaugh. They did a really great job, but it was kind of to the end of the road where they thought they were going to have to take my lung. What's crazy is when I left there, I didn't stop using drugs. I went right back to it. I was prescribed pain medication when I got out. That progressed quickly right back to heroin, but it didn't last long. I no longer hid it. When I asked my mom for money, I asked so that I could go get heroin to feel better. And after a few days of doing that, I looked in the mirror and realized, I didn't live through this crazy event just to go back to being an addict. So I checked myself into rehab. I went to Cove Forge. I did an extensive treatment there. I also did the partial program. And then the counselors recommended I do a halfway house. I did a halfway house in Altoona. During that time, though, my counselor was right on point. Like, God gave me all the tools right in a row. She had me do a relapse board. So what that was I would recollect all the times that I had some clean time away from drugs and alcohol, and I would do a board of what led me to relapse. Whether it was breaking up with a girl, death, multiple things, but each one always had marijuana and alcohol in it. See, I never thought I had a problem with marijuana or alcohol. I always thought it was these other drugs. So she said, let's try something different. Let's not smoke weed or drink alcohol, and let's see how much time you can get under your belt. And I still have not smoked weed or drank alcohol. It took me outside of myself. I had to really dig in and figure out why Jordan thought that he needed to use these substances to be Jordan. So whenever I would enter in marijuana or enter alcohol, I automatically would come back out of myself. So that was the beginning of it. She also had me write an obituary, as if I would have died the night that I got shot. And for the first few years of my sobriety, I read that obituary. Anytime that I would have a thought, fleeting thought, sadness, happiness, whatever it was that would maybe lead me to drinking or using drugs, I would read that obituary. And when I tell you what I wrote it, man, that it was just a disgusting read, because that's who I was at that time. I would have died a thief, a drug addict, a liar, a cheater, all these horrible traits that I was because of the drugs that I was using on a daily basis. So it was just a reminder of who I didn't want to be. God gave me a second chance at life, so I was going to do everything possible to attempt to return to that. Another big part of it was my mental health treatment. My mental health disease of social anxiety and the post-traumatic stress disorder that I got from the shooting was separate from my drug addiction, and that was very key. My counselors in my mental health treatment allowed me to keep that separate. What made me anxious? Why didn't I want to come out of the house? Why, when there were fireworks, did I react the way that I reacted? I did groups with guys that were shot overseas, and that were in the war, and it allowed me to see that this was two different things that I was fighting. And when I went to a 12-step meeting, I didn't have to say anything about my post-traumatic stress disorder. When I was in with my counselor, I didn't have to say anything about drug or alcohol use, and it was freeing. It was allowing me to wear one tattoo on this sleeve and one tattoo on this sleeve. This is what I was. I was somebody that has multiple mental health issues, and I was somebody that was a full-blown addict. And I still am today. I do treatment for both things today. I can't wake up in the morning and go through the day being normal, and that's okay, because that's who Jordan is. And now I have over 9 years clean from alcohol and drugs, and now I'm able to share the hope of what can be. Because most people that are into drugs and alcohol and they have a problem staying clean, it's because they don't see the immediate benefits. Like something that they say in the 12-step meetings is, don't leave before the miracle happens. My miracles didn't happen for a long time because I was locked in a box. I only left my house to go to my meetings with my mental health counselors, and that was it. But during that time, what happened is that my counselor said, get back into something that you used to love. And what I used to love was collecting baseball cards. I was awarded disability because I wasn't able to work. And some of those proceeds I used to get back into baseball collecting and football and basketball in what's known as case breaks. Basically online, what you do, these websites, they will sell a box of cards split up by 31 teams. You get a team, and any card that comes out of that box for that team is who you get. And I dove in. Maybe a little bit further than I should have because I amassed a huge collection, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And at one point, I started selling those cards on eBay myself to fund those other baseball card buys. I had a transaction go bad where they overdrew my account, and I was no longer able to sell on eBay. And that's what brought me to your store, because I amassed this huge collection, some great cards. I wanted to continue to be able to do that. I was on a limited income, so I said, let me find somebody that I could sell the cards to. And somebody had mentioned Main Street Hobby downtown. I walk in, and it's Tony Penna, who I do remember. I used to see at shooters.
Even apologized.
Yeah. Because that's just a part of my recovery. It's called making amends when you can. There's a lot of people that I interacted with over over time. If you're out there, I apologize if I was ever negative towards you or had a smart mouth. I always acted way outside of myself whenever alcohol was involved or drugs. So yeah, that's as soon as I seen you, that's the first thing I thought. And I was just me being me at that time. Cards were really what I was amassed in. I had not started leaving the house yet. When I would get on the bus, I had to sit on the back of the bus. Nobody behind me. The bus station made me nervous. You know, I hadn't gone. It was almost 4.5 years before I went to Walmart after I got shot. You know, a lot of things that people take for granted, I had to relearn how to do. But that's exactly what I needed, because I needed to actually dive deep in to see who Jordan was, to figure out why I wanted to escape myself by drugs and alcohol. So it's just crazy how God works. It's like he gave me all these signs for me to not be an addict, to try to get clean, all these opportunities. I wasn't taking them. So he gave me the exact formula of what I needed. It sucks that it was like the worst thing that ever happened to me, but I've been able to turn it into the best thing that's ever happened to me. You know, I totally flipped it, and since then it's been nothing but up. Yeah.
And my initial reaction, like at first, is like how fragile life can be. That if you'd have went left instead of right, we wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah.
But I think our belief allows us to realize that this path was ordained.
Yeah.
And it was all meant to be. My question though is, who told you to go to Main Street Hobby? Do we even know? I'd like to thank this person.
Yeah,
or give him a gift card.
I'm not sure. I believe it was somebody on Facebook, because at that time I just started to pop back on Facebook.
Yeah.
Maybe an old friend that.
I'd love to know who that was. I'd like to take him out to
Maybe
dinner.
I Googled it, or Yahoo or whatever it was at that time.
Josh is over there raising his hand. Me. He just wants a free dinner. It's not about that, Josh.
Yeah.
Back in your cage.
I might be a fat kid that I do not do fat kid things.
But you know, so that's the first thing that pops in my head. The other thing too, I think that you didn't touch on a little bit. I think your another godly moment was the movement.
Yeah.
The last second movement when they had the gun on you.
Oh yeah.
That always kind of like floored me, that you were in a certain position and you had kind of arched and you don't even know why you did.
Just enough, like you know. So the third person, who was never named, never got out of the car. Innocent to me, just happened to be with these two guys. The guy that pulled the gun on me, he held the gun on me until the other guy pulled me out of the car, and then I was kind of down in like a crouching position as he dug in my pockets, and he had the gun on my head. When he was done, the removal of the gun from my head, I moved just enough, so instead of catching it right here, I caught it right here. Like, it's literally that, you know, a fraction of a moment, of which it could have been completely different.
Yeah.
And the exact angle, the way it bounced, the way that my last rib broke, so the bullet came up and stuck. Because the way that it came in, it zigzagged, so it come in, hit this. When that broke, it popped up. When that broke, it popped down. When that broke, it popped up. So if this one doesn't completely shatter to where the bullet gets through to muscle, it's in my heart.
Yeah.
It's like it. You know, there's something otherworldly. I was meant to be here. I wasn't supposed to die that night. I will say this. Another part of the story. When I was in the ambulance, the nurse lady she saved my life. So the bullet never came through. So my lung was filling up with blood and I couldn't breathe. When they came there, they weren't sure really what happened. You know, I had track marks on my arm, so the moral of the story is they weren't sure if I was the robber or the cab driver. So they were kind of treating me kind of negatively. The lady in the ambulance, though, she said, "I do not care what happened. I'm not going to let you die here." And she could see what was happening, so she hit me with it's like an empty pen in my lung, and it was the greatest breath I ever took, because I was literally drowning on my own blood. And when she put that in my chest, it was just such a it just opened me up, man. And you know, I really, really commend her for doing her job. It was truly a blessing. Everything lined up exactly right for me to make it. It's sad to think just how like one little change of any of that, one person acting a little different, being a little late, whatever it was, could have just, you know, I wouldn't be here right now.
And tragically, she passed away in a terrible accident.
Yeah.
You know, probably a year or so later.
Yeah.
So again, that's, you know, that she was definitely your angel. And, you know, so the crazy part about this is over time with us, you're telling us a little bit more and more of your story as you felt more comfortable being around us. before I get into the story, though, I just want to say, though, like when you don't have the anxiety that you have, that you were dealing with, and you talked about it, but it's real easy for us to forget. I mean, we went to a card show.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And we not we sent you there, but we went, and little things like you hadn't been in a restaurant to eat, and, you know, little things that go, hey, stop at Walmart and pick this up because, hey, see if they have cards. You're up there, you know, all the things we like to do, searching for boxes. Those were big milestones for you.
Yeah.
And we just didn't realize that, you know, and it's like the ignorance of us saying, hey, go ahead and do this. Hey, we're just gonna go to card show this weekend, because you don't think about it. And as time went on, you told us more and more. I mean, even going to the Galleria was probably a big deal for you.
Yeah.
So you told us more and more and got more and more comfortable. And I'll never forget it. It was a Saturday, and you were in the office, and you told me the whole story. What you just told. The part you didn't tell was, you know, how you arrived to that house. You know, there's one porch light on the street above Oakhurst Playground. You go down there and you knock on the door, and the lady has her chain, and she's scared to let you in, and you tell her what's going on, and she makes a decision to call the ambulance. And, you know, obviously the rest is history, or what you said right now. But I can remember you talking to me and saying, man, I never really got a chance to thank her. And as ironic as this is going to sound, and maybe even they could think this is far-fetched, but we know that this is 1,000% true. The next day, me and my wife go walking with good friends of ours, the Covers, and we're walking at Richland Cemetery, and we're done walking, and they say, hey, you want to get a cold drink at Panera? And we're like, absolutely. So we go into Panera, and as we're there, we go get our drinks, and my wife goes back up to get something, and she sees one of her friends, and she comes back and says, hey, do you mind if Joanne sits with us? And I said, of course not. So the five of us are sitting there, and we're having a normal conversation, and she says, yeah, you wouldn't believe the things that happen to me. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. Crazy things happen to me. Like one night some guy came to my house and had gotten shot and said, you know, and I didn't know, you know, who he was or if I was in danger, and, you know, I didn't do enough to help him. And I'm sitting there nudging Danielle. I said, that's she's talking about Jordan. She's talking about Jordan. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I just heard the story yesterday. So the cool part about it is you guys have connected since then.
Yep.
She felt bad that she didn't do enough. You felt bad you didn't thank her. Somehow, well, not somehow, we always think things are crazy. I was placed in that position to hear that, and we were able to get that. So talk about a connection, and you know, just I literally, if you don't tell me that story on Saturday, I don't even know it on Sunday. And
right.
It's just like, you know, God power stuff, and it floors you and humbles you and makes you realize that, you know, that we're going in the right direction with what's going on. And, you know, we've had so much fun chasing our hobby. Now we're on here talking about our hobby and about sports. And, you know, we don't want to be too rigid with this podcast, because we're just here to have fun.
That's it, man.
We're just here to, you know, spread the word a little bit. We've been blessed with this beautiful studio, and we've been blessed with people supporting us. We're blessed to be able to share this with our Safe Haven kids, because that's the reason the podcast, the studio is here.
Yep.
We'll be putting a bunch of their stuff on our YouTube channel, Main Street 814. We've been blessed by Mr. Cover, who's advised us so well. We're even blessed by Harry and the Hendersons back there, who's done a great job promoting the show.
Hey, one more thing, though,
Yeah.
like another crazy part of the story. So, you know, like, so I meet you. Okay, so I meet you in 2017, we'll say, because 2017 Chrome is Bellinger. That's kind of what I go back to, and that was one of the bigger cards that we dealt with right at first. So 2017. So I have close to 4 years, around 4 years clean. But you know, if that doesn't happen, so later on down the line, I meet my significant other through you, because she is best friends with your daughter. So I meet her. And we now have an infant son, Christian Scott. You know, so like, I shared this in my 12-step program all the time. You know, you just never know what one thing will lead to the next thing.
And when you never know when your miracle's coming.
No,
Yeah.
you know, mine took a long time, and again, the miracle could have stopped with the baseball cards, and then I found this ability to come work with baseball cards, and but through that, then there was another one, and I met my significant other, Jalen,
And that was
now
a
we
blessing.
have a son. Exactly.
And then the son was a blessing.
Yes, it's like they keep coming, man.
And he's been a blessing back to us, as you have too. And like I said, we've just been so blessed, and that's why I wanted to say, like, it's been like a roller coaster ride with like this wasn't here then, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't in good position. We were, you know, I was working with different partners here. here at the gym, and now I'm blessed in the direction that we're going now, and we're adding a boxing gym on, or we're adding another facility, so we just feel so blessed. But we literally just wanted to spend, as corny as it may sound, spend some time together and talk to people out there.
Yep.
And this is just a fascinating way to do it. And I tease Josh all the time, but we couldn't do it without him. Your famous quote with him is, he knows things.
Yeah, Josh Miller knows things.
He knows things. It's different than Peter Dinklage. He doesn't drink. He plays Magic and knows things. So it's a little bit different.
And he can see things on both sides of his face.
Yes.
His peripheral is really great.
And a Lannister always pays his debts. So, yes, he can see more than most.
Yes.
He can see more than most.
Half a finger shy, but he's all good.
But, I mean, like I said, it's the whole thing is so cool, and it's been so much fun. And we're going to hit the National this year, and we'll have lots of awesome video from there. We are going to Atlantic City at the end of July. Can't wait. Going to be a great experience. We're going to do all kind of great stuff. I mean, we've big moments. We've hit the Wander.
Yep.
Just lots of great deals and lots of fun opening packs and lots of laughs. And that's kind of what we want to bring to you. And, we know you've just seen our mugs, and you're going to see some new mugs here real soon because, we have Gabe. We got to bring Gabe back because Gabe is the man, Gabe Ruth.
That was awesome.
He'll be back with us, and some other people as well, too, some special guests, and we're going to get on here and chop it up. You might get the Chiseler out here, the world's betting aficionado.
Yeah.
He is the Rain Man of betting right now.
Unreal.
And maybe the luckiest dude ever. He's probably what do they call it? The prop bet king.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep things rolling here for you, and we thank you for tuning in. Please check out that YouTube channel, Main Street 814, and look for some of our other shows that are coming on. We're blessed again to have Castle Boxing down here. You're gonna see Castle Boxing pound for pound with Castle. We're gonna get those guys on here. That's gonna start real soon. Prisoners of Iron Fitness. You're gonna see Greg Nash, who's already done podcasts before, talking about nutrition, talking about fitness. Because he says, fitness is truly a life sentence. He lives it, he breathes it, he eats, sleeps, and drinks it, and he's sharing it with the community. We're gonna get him on here. Josh, we're gonna get your guys on here. What are we calling that show?
I don't think we figured out a name.
Nerdville. We're definitely going to see that. We did talk about Nerd Herd, whatever it's going to be, but it's going to talk about all things that, and that culture is huge.
Yeah.
And we've got to see it. Whether I don't want to say we don't like it, but whether it's what we do or not, we see it every day. I mean,
I pay attention to Pokemon.
Yeah,
because
it's big, and Magic's big, and we have a nice gaming crowd here. And again, if you're looking for somewhere to game, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, come on down here to the gym. The gym's open, and Josh is here, and the other guys are here, and they're playing Magic, and we're looking to play some Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and Warhammer, and see, I know all these things now.
That's crazy.
Yep. Roll dice, and now I'm getting in trouble because I'm out of nerd things to say. Not LARPing, right? We don't want to say that now. There will be no LARPing parties game, but we are doing some.
That's
things
what his hair is.
Yes,
the LARPing helmet.
Yes, and we are talking about Geek Fest too, which we want to open up on Fridays and just kind of put the game systems out and a bunch of other things and card gaming and let people come down here and enjoy the facility we've been so blessed to have.
Yeah.
So a lot of good things in the horizon. Also, and I think most importantly, will be Main Street Mayhem, which will just be all of us kind of chopping it up on here. And that is sure for some shenanigans and some giggles because we have a assorted cast of characters.
Yes.
I mean, and lastly, we'll be doing our wrestling. Oh no, we won't be doing a wrestling podcast. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, but Imagine Wrestling is coming back here.
Yes, Imagine Wrestling is coming back here. Imagine that.
I know.
They'll be back here on May 28th, and we may have a big time announcement.
Ooh.
A big time announcement of a character coming in there. We had Shane Douglas last time, so. I guess for that week we'll get a pass to be able to talk about wrestling.
Yeah,
we're
fair.
allowed.
We won't be stepping on no toes.
No.
We don't want to get too extreme.
No, we will not step on any toes. We not. We're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it. We'll leave that to the pros.
Yeah.
We'll stick to out of our leagues. But
we're more backyard.
We are totally and completely backyard. Yes,
right.
OG originals. But Josh, you're probably going to cut the camera before we get too far out of hand. Just want to share a little insight on who we are and what makes us. And we are the Deez Sports Nutz and
D. Yeah.
That's all, folks.
That's a remix.
We are Deez Sports Nutz, and you're going to see us more for the collector.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me tell my story.
And the coach and the technician. We're out of here.